My name is Annessa Hartman. I use she, her pronouns. Woo, yeah. It's a lot serious. I stand here very proudly as a First Nations woman. Woo! Mother. Chapter director for a little organization called Oregon. And proudly the third Native American person to be elected in the history of Oregon House of Representatives. I belong to the Haudenosaunee people, Cayuga Nation, Snipe Clan. And I share that because it is important that each and every one of us, at our core, always remember where we come from. So yeah, I stand here proudly amongst all of my friends here, breaking intergenerational traumas as a granddaughter of residential school survivors. That is where my story begins. Because the struggles of my ancestors have not only shaped my outlook on life, but their pain has paved the way for me to be here in my whole authentic self. My journey to advocacy and politics is unique. This is not something I ever thought I would do, let alone did I believe I actually belonged here. As a child, it was just my mother and I against the world. There were moments of food insecurity, housing insecurity, moments of humility when bills could not be paid, and moments of uncertainty when it came to healthcare. Because when a fever in my household presented itself, it was an ice bath, Vic socks, and an ice cold Coca-Cola before you could go anywhere. And our story is not unique. As I hear everyone cheering, guys, you're probably thinking of all the moments that your mom did their little tricks when you were sick. But through all of that, there were moments of laughter and growth, because through her tenacity, she found a way to make sure I had the best life I could possibly have. Give it up for my mom. And through that, she found a way to build community. And that is what Unite Oregon is to me, is community. And it is long past time that we recognize that by centering community voices and those with lived experience, that's where our collective power is. At Unite Oregon, education equity is prioritized through youth and family leadership programs. Yield. Youth-led involvement through engagement and leadership development program works in partnership with Portland Public Schools Racial Equity and Social Justice Department to provide workshops and resource provision opportunities where participants forge a community and gain the confidence to become their own advocates. Build, our BIPOC refugee, immigrant, development growth, and economic stability. Jeez, we gotta work on this acronym. Program which provides training on parental leadership, development, organizing, and mobilizing to address systemic barriers to educational attainment for students of color, many of whom are Latinx and or Indigenous identifying. Because we know that empowering and engaging and navigating the school system is essential to student success. And because we know that prosperity begins with safe, sustainable, and affordable housing, our anti-displacement coalition, ABPDX, our Rogue Valley chapter have been working tirelessly to address housing disparities. And from that work came two amazing pieces of legislation that I was proud to sponsor. Senate Bill 611, which caps annual rent increases as well as requires landlords to pay tenants 3 months' rent after a no-cause eviction, passed out of both chambers on the second to the last day. House Bill 3462 opens the ability for the Department of Human Services and Housing and Community Services Department to provide housing to displaced individuals when an emergency is declared, regardless of your documentation status. And this holds a special place in my heart because not only was it supported bipartisan across both chambers, it was my first bill that I championed as a state legislator. And it reminded me through this process of convincing folks that might not normally support legislation like this of something my grandfather used to tell me. You are going to spend your life where others will tell you what you can and cannot do. And you can choose to listen to them or you can choose to learn to play their game. Then you become the person who changes the way you tell people where their place is. You become the person who shows the others how to bring people together. You show them that our responsibility to the next set of generation, and weave us into the future that does not pit any one person against another. At the intersection of all Unite Oregon's 6 pillars will always be our community members. Those of us with lived experience who are learning to play that damn game, taking up space and continuing to be our most authentic selves by advocating for our most basic rights. Together we will unite Oregon in action.